Hey guys, Paul here. So today I wanted to talk about something kind of strange that I've noticed in the Yu-Gi-Oh community over many years, really, but that's been especially more prevalent in recent years. And that is the sort of community's love-hate relationship with Yu-Gi-Oh, and maybe more specifically, why it seems so difficult for people to let go of this game. Now, I want to preface this by saying I'm not making this video to suggest that you quit Yu-Gi-Oh or anything like that. I'm not quitting Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm not encouraging anybody to do so. I hope that nobody does. But the reason why I bring it up is because I have noticed more and more in recent years that like people are dissatisfied with the direction that Yu-Gi-Oh is going or the way that Konami is handling it. And I'm also kind of to some degree one of those players, right? Like I have my complaints about, game balance, my complaints about, Konami's communication and their marketing and all these sorts of things. I made plenty of videos about it. But I guess what I really want to explore here is why do we continue to play Yu-Gi-Oh when we are increasingly kind of irritated, frustrated, just like fed up with the game? And I've got a few hunches, but so first of all, let's take the issues themselves kind of one by one. I think the biggest thing that I see people complain about with Yu-Gi-Oh is probably just like power creep in general, right? A lot of people feel that the game is accelerated way too fast and decks are way too strong, turns are way too long, boards are way too big, that whole sort of thing. So many cards have so many effects and it's just all really crazy. And if Konami would just do X thing being like ban, these like 30 or 40 cards and fix the game, or errata a bunch of stuff, or maybe stop making things this strong or that strong or whatever. Another thing I hear a lot is, about the price of the game. Why is Konami always, price hiking these cards or rarity jumping them? I guess they're not the ones setting the prices, but, like why do they make this thing a secret in this set, or why do they short print this card? And it's so annoying that they keep doing that. Also, communication, right? Leading up to this ban list that we finally got like a date for, it's been a little bit hectic, right? Like you see players just getting so angry with Konami, right? Like this company's terrible. Their marketing is so awful. We're gonna spam the comments of every post with the puking horse meme and it's all this crazy stuff, right? But despite all of it, we don't actually quit Yu-Gi-Oh. And it kind of makes me wonder if maybe there's just Stockholm syndrome going on, right? Or something like that. I mean, like, I don't think Konami is the worst company in the world or anything like that. I've even gotten a chance to work with them on a few different things, and I can say with full, certainty that the people who are working there are passionate people. They're trying their best. It's just a difficult company in a difficult situation. But I do sometimes think that, they drop the ball on stuff. I do sometimes think that they kind of they're just not willing or maybe able to sort of implement new measures of like communication and marketing and kind of community engagement and stuff. But what's weird to me is when people complain as much as they do about the cards that they don't like, but they still kind of continue to play Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Like we see a lot of events get really big attendance. We see a lot of highly in demand packs flying off shelves, and cards are still, being perceived as worth like $80 or $100. So it leads me to think, well, okay, even though like people are so mad with this game, or seemingly are so mad with this game, it's all still kind of like going, right? Like it's still the wheels are turning, people are showing up. And to that end, I think that the reason why that's the case and the reason why so many of us don't actually, quit Yu-Gi-Oh despite really loving it is because Yu-Gi-Oh fundamentally is a very fun game. And I think that sounds like a simple cop out, like, well, duh, Yu Gi Oh's fun, we're playing it. But I mean, like, I do mean that seriously. Whenever I discuss other card games with people, I've heard a lot of people either say that, they find other card games to be more boring or less stimulating than Yu Gi Oh is, or just less exciting. I'm not saying that, like, I necessarily share those sentiments, but some of the things I've heard are stuff like, Pokemon is an uninteractive game and it's kind of boring because like your opponent takes their turn and you take your turn and it's not like a very like it doesn't feel like you can kind of influence any decisions during the opponent's turn, and that's something that Yu-Gi-Oh generally offers. I've heard people say they feel like Yu-Gi-Oh's pace, the breakneck pace and the rapid fire decision making feels like a bit of a rush, right? Like it's sort of like akin to playing a fighting game and things like that. I think for me though, it kind of harkens more so back to like something kind of memory based. Like I think that everybody has a favorite deck, a favorite archetype, and that archetype could be their favorite for any number of reasons. It could be because, of the artwork or the kind of the theme, the aesthetics, or it also might just be because of the play style, right? Like I have a few decks that I just kind of can't really like look away from or let go of. I always name Vanquish Soul as one of my recent kind of children decks that I've really loved. But also, like, there have been others in the past. Cyber Dragon's been, like, a really big one for me. And there's, like, plenty of others. And I think everybody kind of has that one deck where when you see that the deck gets new support, right? Then you're right back in. You can claim, oh, I'm gonna quit Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm done with this. This company's abused us badly enough, and it's stupid, and the power creep, and the tier 0, and the ban list communication, it all sucks, right? That's what you'll hear people say that. But then when they announce, oh, new Madolche support, oh, new support for X deck that I like, Raid Raptors, Ancient Gears, a new Yugi deck. Like I think that brings back people's memories of better days, and sometimes I think that like this yearning, it causes us like pain and pleasure because it's like, well, they did just give new support for your favorite old deck, right? Your favorite anime deck or legacy deck or whatever, your favorite just thing that you liked. But on the other hand, though, it doesn't actually fix too many of the other issues that like you might have with the game. It just kind of piques your excitement temporarily, and it makes me kind of wonder, like, okay, so are we maybe inviting ourselves back for some of the pain and some of the suffering if we hate Yu-Gi-Oh as much as I see some people claim? And like, I don't know, I've this video's kind of all over the place, by the way. I should probably apologize for that. I know some people approach these videos wanting facts and logic and arguments, but I don't provide any of those. I'm just kind of here to talk my mind and then hear what you guys have to say about it. But the point is, yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess I'm like finding myself at this weird impasse of like being kind of sympathetic towards Yu-Gi-Oh players when they complain because I feel the same complaints, but then also sort of like maybe a little bit annoyed that people aren't willing to, put their money where their mouth is and actually, like, if you truly hate this game, if you truly think things are so bad, then, like, why haven't you quit? Why haven't you stopped buying? Why haven't you, stopped going to events? And I know that there are some people who have stopped, actually. So to be clear, like, there are players who have quit, but I sometimes think that the people who get most angry and most vocal are still playing the game. Maybe it's because, that whole, like, you hate the ones you love sort of argument. Like you hear that a lot, right? If you're critical of something, it means you care about it. I've even used that as sort of a defense for my own critiques of the game. But I do sometimes think that, like, is Yu-Gi-Oh all just Stockholm Syndrome? Is it all just sunk cost fallacy? Are we all just kind of like these, are we kind of being held captive to some extent, right? Like this audience that is like, we don't like what we do. We don't like the game we play, but like we still stick with it because there's just that chance, that hope that it will go back to the magical way that it was, or when my favorite deck will get support, it might become good enough to play, even if it is only ends up being like tier 4 or whatever. Like, I don't really know. So yeah, I make this video kind of afraid that like I feel like people are going to be like, oh, you're just complaining again. Believe me when I say I'm not really complaining. I'm more like at this point just kind of like wondering like what is it that kind of keeps us in? What's the draw of Yu-Gi-Oh for you? And I guess the last thing I'll say, because I know people will also say it, is I don't think this is like indicative of every Yu-Gi-Oh player. It honestly kind of can't be. Like, I think that this is kind of more of a thing for the terminally online, which unfortunately includes me because I have to do this for my job. So I'm always reading comments and, on Twitter and Discord and Facebook and all that stuff. But like, I don't know, man. Sometimes I really do feel as though it might just be a vocal minority that's complaining. Maybe there are a lot of us who are just totally happy and fine with things the way they are. Even I am like sort of this anomaly because, like I said, I still play Yu-Gi-Oh and I still like it. Like I understand where people are coming from with their complaints, but like I log on to Master Duel every single night and just play. I know that it's not like exactly the format, the power creep level, all that stuff isn't exactly to my liking, but like I still enjoy it. So maybe what it really does all come down to is just the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh at the end of the day is fun. It was fun at the start back in 2003 or whatever, 2002. It was fun in 2010. It was fun in 2014, 2019, and even to this day, despite whatever people might tell you about, one card combos and everything else, it's also still pretty fun. Like, I don't know, I still like playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Today. So yeah, I want to hear what you guys have to say about that, how people feel about this. You can weigh in. This isn't meant to be like there's not like a right or wrong answer to this or anything like that. Like I'm not saying, like I said at the start, I'm not saying like people need to be quitting. I guess I wonder like for the people that are dissatisfied with the game but kind of still continue to play it, what is it that drives you? Is it like a past thing that you're looking for? Is it just, maybe your complaints aren't actually all that deep? I'd love to hear about it. Anyways, let me know down below in the comments. That's going to be it for today. And I'll have another video like this for you guys soon. So yeah, fast turn.